Hello, welcome to Gardening with Calyx. I am Thelma. Today's topic, caladiums. If you are in a colder climate, it is required that you dig them up as the temperature gets cooler so as to protect the bulbs from freezing damage and perhaps death. But we're in the tropics, warm climate year round. Does the caladium go into dormancy? What happens when the weather gets a little cooler? Does it stop growing? Well, we've tracked the growth of our caladiums over an 18-month period, and we'd like to share with you exactly what happens during the dormancy period of caladiums in the tropics. So please keep watching. Welcome back and thanks for staying. We began this caladium journey about 18 months ago, as I mentioned, but we produced two videos. The first one showing you how to propagate caladiums from tuber segments. Then the second video, we showed you how to transplant those rooted segments into pots. And these are the 4 pots that were featured in that second video. If you haven't seen those 2 videos as yet, we're going to put a link on the screen so that you can find those easily when you have the time to look at them. But for today's video, we are going to do a quick summary of those first 2 so that you'll be able to track the growth or follow the information that we are giving you today. So as I said, we started by showing you how to divide the tuber segments and how to set them to root. They rooted quite well and were ready to be transplanted at 4 months. Transplanted them into 4 pots, and at 6 months these pots were looking really lovely. That was in June, which essentially is the start of our summer. We then monitored their growth. The growth changes throughout summer and into the cooler months. Here they are in August, height of summer, and the colors are still spectacular. But later on in the August, as the temperature warmed up, we lost some of the vibrancy in the foliage. This particular pot, I think, suffered from overwatering. This really looked like it was waterlogged. The white one did not blink. It really sailed right through the summer months, looking just as beautiful as it did in May. By September, it was obvious that the plants had started to slow down their growth. The leaves started looking paler. You could see that there is a fair bit of leaf loss here already. They just droop and dry. So between the period, I would say October to December, the plants lost anywhere between 50% to 70% of their foliage. I resumed fertilizer application, slow release 14-14-14 in February, and watered only when the top 2 inches of the soil was dry to the touch. By April, you could see definitely they had resumed growth. With the exception of this pot, which as you can see has really small shoots, the other 3 had nice, vigorous, healthy, colorful shoots with mature looking leaves and quite a few younger shoots coming up. Here we are in May, mid to late spring, and the caladiums, 3 of the 4 pots at least, have made an amazing regrowth, an amazing growth spurt, to the stage where these 3 that I'm holding on to are in beautiful condition for full display. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. This white one, all of the shoots are up, firmly up, fully extended. The second one I'm going to show you, this red one. Wonderful specimen. Doubt you can see, but I think every tuber segment has several shoots coming up. Look at that. fully populated, sturdy, very nice. This one is the one that really looked as if it wasn't going to make it 2 or 3 months ago. This too is good to go for the remainder of the summer, going into fall. One that is a bit surprising is this one in the biggest pot. Now, maybe that is telling us the pot was too big. It's coming up, it was slower than the others. Problem with a pot this size, it retains water. These plants remain outside throughout their lifetime, and we've been having rain, so the excess moisture could have accounted for the fact that this one is not thriving as much as the others. Something we're going to be checking out. But I'm happy in a way that it is not doing as well as the others, because that makes it easier for me to do what I'm going to do next. So because we're curious to find out the extent to which or how much growth we get after 1 year in the pot, I have decided to excavate and see the size of the tubers after one growth cycle. Not just the size, but the amount. So for those of you who are going, eesh, I'm doing this in the interest of sharing information. I'll speed it up a bit while I continue searching. Quite a lot of the mixture is still in the pot, so these plants only occupied about a depth of 4 inches in the potted media. So when we put the mixture to here, we're wasting mixture. There are no roots from here to the bottom. So note to self, note to others, we do not need such a deep pot when we're growing caladiums. This tuber has 2 shoots coming up. These are all multiples. So in all we have 3, 6, 7 large ones, relatively speaking, to caladiums. All in all, this is a pretty good yield, considering that we started out with between 6 to 8 small bits of caladium in the pot. Instead of returning these young plants into their original larger pots, I planted them out into 6-inch pots, placing between 2 and 3 of them per pot. And as you can see, I now have 5 new pots of caladiums. That was interesting, wasn't it? Now we're coming to the end of this video, and I think I should just summarize essentially what we learned. Under our tropical conditions, caladiums essentially stop growing towards the end of September. However, they do not die back totally. They retain their foliage, but the foliage loses their luster. They're no longer as attractive. And by September or October, you see a significant difference. We find that by January, in the cooler months, January, February, the plants had lost about 50% of their foliage, except for this white one, which held on to its foliage, keeping them really turgid and making sure that they can stay on display. By the end of March, as soon as spring was in the air, the caladium sprung into life, as it were. Within a 2-month period, they sent up lots of new shoots. The leaves became vibrant, the colors returned, and by April, they were in all their glory, ready to make their usual contribution to the garden. Now we're in May. I think they are approaching their peak, and will stay looking this well for another 3 or 4 months. Then they resume the cycle. So essentially what we're saying, in the warmer climates, where the caladiums, there's no need to dig them up at the end of fall. You can leave them in place. They will continue a relatively slow dormant period, but not a total drying up of the foliage. You make sure you don't disturb them. And that's a problem when caladiums are growing in beds. Sometimes we forget where they are and we disturb them. But having them in pots, no such luck. We reduce the watering during that time, or try to protect them from any excess rainfall. And we saw what happened in the larger pot, where the soil remained soggy for too long and the regrowth was rather slow. So quite a bit to unpack, but I think the experience for us certainly, we learned quite a bit. And the best part, of course, is that we are able to expand our collection. If you like the content we shared, please give us a thumbs up and share the video with your friends. And for those of you who may not have subscribed as yet, please, we are asking you to do so. That way you are going to be sure to get any updates on caladiums as well as all the other topics we featured. So until the next time, I am Thelma saying thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.